Holy smokes, folks, what the hell is going on right now? We got green bubbles in the middle of a really mini bear market. It is kind of crazy. I thought we were in a little bear market where everything is supposed to be crashing down before our eyes because of all the things that we never anticipated and blah, blah, blah. But last night, when I went to sleep, I said, when I wake up, I will see a 96K Bitcoin and a 3-cent Kaspa. I can feel it, right? And it didn't happen. I mean, the Bitcoin was sort of like trending upward and Kaspa was still at 4 cents, right? And I was, looking around to see what's going on. There isn't too much. I think it's just really manipulation. This guy right here, this guy came out and apparently had a bullish speech.
We're making the United States the Bitcoin superpower, the crypto capital of the world, and the undisputed leader in artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I mean, it's good news, but I think it's really just manipulation. Now, look at this. Fear and greed is still an extreme fear, and, it's at a 20. Well, I guess the 20 is fear, but not extreme fear. But either way, 20 is like crazy low, right? So, and yet everything is green. So I think this is a bull trap right here. I think we're just gonna go down. I mean, it's gonna be red for quite some time, and it really all depends on the government shutdown. The government shutdown is like sort of like sucking liquidity out of the market in more ways than one. But there's a silver lining here. There's a silver lining. You see, look right here. Like everybody, that's why I think it's just manipulation, right? So now short sellers are being are being liquidated and so on. Look at 1.6 billion in the last 24 hours. We got all this sudden green. Everybody thought it was going to be red. Everybody's been talking about that. We're going to go down to 98K for Bitcoin. We're going to go down to 94. Some other crazy people have been saying like going down to 80K for Bitcoin. I think that's a little bit extreme, but that's been the talk of the town. And what happens? What happens when everybody expects one thing and the opposite happens, right? And then people get liquidated. So, but yeah, I think that this is one thing I wanted to point out. A couple days ago, I think I misspoke when I said that we've had like 5 or 6 or something like that, 6 or 7 green Novembers over the last few years, going back, 6 or 7 years. But it's really been 6 years worth of green Octobers. And we've had quite a few green Novembers over the years. I don't know if you want to count the 2021 November as red because, that was the cycle top. Bitcoin topped out. But overall, I think that we might actually close this November red. It actually sounds a little bthat crazy, but I mean, a lot of things are really dependent on this government shutdown. And yeah, I mean, once we reopen, and then everything, I think, is going to get a lot better, and that's going to be really bullish news. But there's a silver lining, something I had not realized. So, I had been saying that starting October 23rd, we're going to get a whole bunch of ETFs, starting with some XRP ETFs, and then so on, right? So now that's going to start happening on the 13th. And I've been wondering, like, how are they able to actually bypass the rules, the approval rules and so on, and get approved even though the government is shut down? So they're coming on the 13th. This article here says November could be the new October for U.S. crypto ETFs after shutdown delays, SEC decisions. But after October's delays caused by the U.S. government shutdown, ETF issuers are finding new ways to bring spot crypto funds to the market. So the reason why is that the ETFs have this rule, there's this rule for the ETFs that they get approved automatically 20 days after their date where they're supposed to get approval or something like that. So it can't be delayed by more than 20 days. And if it is, they're automatically approved, which is crazy, right? So that means that, November 13th, if you go back 20 days or 21 days, that's October 23rd. So these November 13th ETFs were the ones that were supposed to happen on October 23rd. So we're actually getting those ETFs and we're going to get those pumps into the market from those ETFs. So that is actually some good news, even if the government doesn't reopen right away. It would be crazy if it doesn't open in November, like the entire month. It's already right now the longest government shutdown in history. But I mean, at least this is some good news. So this is very, very interesting. Now, when it comes to Kaspa, what am I? Oh, this is giggle. Look at this. Look at this. Plays in my community, right? We did a 28x on Giggle Fund just a few weeks back, and it's been pumping again. It's crazy. It's like out of nowhere. The last few days we've been taking profits. Look how much that's been pumping. It's like off the chart. So link in the description below if you want to get in on some of the baddest entry points ever. We use software. We use software to go out and scan thousands of tokens every single day to find the best goddamn coins, and we are crushing it. But going back to Kaspa, my ultimate goal is to accumulate as much Kaspa as humanly possible. Now, I have bought a ton of Kaspa, but I did it at 10 and 11 cents, right? So even if I spend, put down another $1,000 right now at like 4 cents, it's really not going to make a dent into my average. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it if it gets down to 3 cents. I'll do it. But it didn't happen overnight. Maybe it'll happen tomorrow. Fingers crossed it'll happen tomorrow or the next day or something like that. Because I'm really skeptical about November. At least going out to the 13th and then some, because money flowing into XRP, it doesn't necessarily mean the entire alt market. So it's the altcoin market. So, but we're going to get other ETFs going in, with inflows into other altcoins, right? Cardano, Solana, Ethereum, and et cetera, just going down the list. Dogecoin, right? All these tokens. But if that kicks off alt season, then we're going to be absolutely flying, because we need the buzz to be created, and then retail comes in as well. So we got institutions and we got retail, and it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. And I do not believe for a second that this is the end of the cycle. I do believe that we can get a pretty nice run up, right? Next month, the next 2 months, I believe we can get a pretty nice run up, but I think that eventually it's going to be a very, very long cycle, and it's going to be the biggest and baddest cycle ever. And I'm going to be using, with plays like Giggle Fund and all these coins. We did the 550x on MYX. It goes down the list over and over and over again. Just as all recently in the last few months, we did like the 94x on the tutorial token on BNB. We did the 38x on Disco. Mafia's Disco. It just goes on and on and on. 10x on Avantis over the last, 2 months. So it's been crazy. When we get a green month, we are absolutely flying. And eventually, in the long run, when this run up is over, right, and then we go down to a mini bear market again, next time around, I'm going to be looking to buy some more Kaspa. With all the earnings that I had made with these tokens, I'm going to buy some more Kaspa. But I'm looking forward to the volatility. Nice to see some pumps. I'm looking forward to taking at least some more profits as well. Been swing trading like crazy. All right, let's go to the daily right here. What's this look like? Yeah, we got this nice green candle. Now, if we get another day or two of green, that's great. And I'm going to see if I can take some profits, because I believe, and it's not financial advice, of course. Definitely not financial advice. If you think this financial advice, you got to be out of your mind. There you go. So I think that, we're going to see some green and we're going to go red at least again, because I don't think that we're going to just go up from now until, November 13th, when the first XRP ETF comes out. And even then, so is it enough to keep going green every single week after, right up until the rate cut? And then will we get the rate cut? We probably will. Now, on the flip side of that, so not to be the bearer of bad news again, we just had a better than expected jobs report, an ADP jobs report. We had better than expected, which is good for the jobs market. We don't want people to be unemployed. We don't want people to lose their jobs. We want people to keep making money. But when the Fed looks at that, they say, okay, the jobs market there's no cracks in the job market. There's no cracks in the job market as we thought. And they may say, okay, maybe we don't need another rate cut. Yeah, and it all depends because there is like a void, like a blackout of economic reports that the Fed could look at because of the government shutdown. And that's not helping out. So we'll see what happens. We very well could get a red November. We'll have to expect it. But I think that we're going to get like it's going to be like a slingshot. You're pulling that rubber band back, you keep pulling, then you let go. And I think we're just going to be flying when it comes to, December. Anyways, guys, click that link in the description below if you want to be in on the greatest community ever. And I will see you there.